Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams, and with me is Abhishek Mukhopadhyay with the Midday News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses the national launch ceremony of Azadi Ke Amrit Mahotsav se Swarnim Bharat ki Or through video conferencing. Progress of people lies in the progress of the nation, says Prime Minister. BJP announces 34 candidates for Goa Assembly elections. Congress releases second list of 41 candidates for UP. India-assisted social housing units project in Mauritius to be jointly inaugurated by Prime Minister Modi and his Mauritian counterparts this evening. Nationwide COVID-19 vaccination drive reaches 159 crore 67 lakh mark. Recovery rate stands at 93.69%. India's green cover area increases to nearly one-fourth of its geographical area. Airlines across the world adjust their schedules over fears of key safety interference due to 5G rollout near American airports. In football, AFC Women's Asian Cup kicks off this evening. India takes on Iran in the opening match at Mumbai. And in Australian Open, Stefanos Tsitsipas enters third round of men's singles. Top-seeded Garbiñe Muguruza bows out of women's singles. As the number of COVID-19 cases is rising fast in several parts of the country, we appeal to our listeners to be vigilant and to get fully vaccinated and help others, including children between 15 and 18 years, get vaccinated. As the new Omicron variant of coronavirus is causing concern, please continue to follow these 3 simple steps to stay safe. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011-2397-8046 and 1075. And other news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that people and the nation's dreams are no different, and our progress lies in the progress of the nation. He said this feeling and understanding is becoming the biggest strength of the people in New India. The Prime Minister today addressed the national launch ceremony of Azadi Ke Amrit Mahotsav se Swarnim Bharat ki Or through video conferencing.
हमारी निजी और राष्ट्रीय सफलताएं अलग अलग नहीं है. राष्ट्र की प्रगति में ही हमारी प्रगति है. हमसे ही राष्ट्र का अस्तित्व है और राष्ट्र से ही हमारा अस्तित्व है. ये भाव, ये बोध नए भारत के निर्माण में हम भारतवासियों की सबसे बड़ी ताकत बन रहा है. आज देश जो कुछ कर रहा है उसमें सबका प्रयास शामिल है. सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास. आज एक और बात, सबका प्रयास. ये सब देश का मूल मंत्र बन रहा है.
The program unveiled year-long initiatives dedicated to Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav by the Brahma Kumaris, which include more than 30 campaigns and over 15,000 programs and events. During the event, a song dedicated to Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav by Grammy Award winner Ricky Cage was released. The Prime Minister flagged off 7 initiatives of Brahma Kumaris. These include My India, Healthy India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, Self-Reliant Farmers, Women Flag Bearers of India, Power of Peace Bus Campaign, Andekha Bharat Cycle Rally, United India Motorbike Campaign, and green initiatives under Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. The Prime Minister said the country needs everyone's cooperation and efforts. He stressed that there is a need to develop a system wherein there is no place for discrimination and which stands on the foundation of equality and social justice. He said the country is witnessing a new India where decisions are new and progressive. He said India maintains its original nature in adverse situations, and this is the strength of the country. The Prime Minister thanked the Brahma Kumari family for staying connected with the country's dreams and resolutions.
ब्रह्मा कुमारी संस्था के द्वारा आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव से स्वर्णिम भारत की ओर एक बहुत बड़े अभियान का प्रारंभ हो रहा है. इस कार्यक्रम में स्वर्णिम भारत के लिए भावना भी है, साधना भी है। इसमें देश के लिए प्रेरणा भी है और ब्रह्मा कुमारियों के प्रयास भी है। मैं देश के संकल्पों के साथ, देश के सपनों के साथ निरंतर जुड़े रहने के लिए ब्रह्मा कुमारी परिवार का बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन करता हूं।
Recalling woman power and the sacrifices made by the women freedom fighters, Mr. Modi said the country is remembering their sacrifices during the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
हमारा युगों युगों का इतिहास इस बात का साक्षी है। दुनिया जब महिलाओं को लेकर पुरानी सोच में जकड़ी थी, तब भारत मातृशक्ति की पूजा देवी के रूप में करता था। हमारे यहाँ गार्गी, मैत्रेयी, अनसुईया, अरुंधति और मदालसा जैसी विदुषियां समाज को ज्ञान देती थी। कठिनाइयों से भरे मध्यकाल में भी इस देश में पन्ना घाय और मीराबाई जैसी महान नारियां हुई। और अमृत महोत्सव में देश जिस स्वाधीनता संग्राम के इतिहास को याद कर रहा है, उसमें भी कितनी ही महिलाओं ने अपने बलिदान दिए हैं।
Stressing on preserving the country's culture, civilization, values, spirituality and diversity, Mr. Modi said technology, infrastructure, education, health need to be continuously modernized simultaneously. He highlighted the importance of this Amrit Kaal.
अमृत काल का ये समय जागृत होकर अपने संकल्प पूरे करने का है। आने वाले 25 साल परिश्रम की पराकाष्ठा, त्याग, तप, तपस्या के 25 वर्ष हैं। सैकड़ों वर्षों की गुलामी में हमारे समाज ने जो गंवाया है, ये 25 वर्ष का कालखंड उसे दोबारा प्राप्त करने का है। इसलिए आजादी के इस अमृत महोत्सव में हमारा ध्यान भविष्य पर ही केंद्रित होना चाहिए।
Talking about the importance of duties in nation building, the Prime Minister said people only talked about rights and fought for their rights in the last 75 years.
बीते 75 वर्षों में अधिकारों के लिए झगड़ते रहे, जूझते रहे। अधिकार की बात कुछ समय के लिए किसी एक परिस्थिति में सही हो सकती है, लेकिन अपने कर्तव्यों को पूरी तरह भूल जाना, इस बात ने भारत को कमजोर रोकने में बहुत बड़ी भूमिका निभाई है। इन 75 वर्षों में कर्तव्यों को दूर रखने की वजह से जो खाई पैदा हुई है, सिर्फ अधिकार की बात करने की वजह से समाज में जो कमी आई है, उसकी भरपाई हम मिलकर के आने वाले 25 वर्षों में कर्तव्य की साधना करके पूरी कर सकते हैं।
Union Culture Minister G. Kishan Reddy said this program will give the world a glimpse of India's glorious culture and history. Gujarat Chief Minister Bhupendra Bhai Patel, Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot, Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla and other dignitaries participated in the event.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Mauritius counterpart Praveen Kumar Jagannath will jointly inaugurate the India-assisted social housing units project virtually in Mauritius today. They will also launch the Civil Service College and 8-megawatt solar PV farm projects in Mauritius that have been undertaken under India's development support. An agreement on extending a $190 million line of credit from India to Mauritius for the Metro Express project and other infrastructure projects will be exchanged. An MOU on the implementation of small development projects will also be exchanged. In Uttar Pradesh, Congress has released the second list of 41 candidates for the upcoming polls. 16 women candidates have got tickets in this list. The party has declared to disburse 40% tickets to women candidates under its Pink Manifesto. Former Samajwadi Party MLA Pramod Gupta and former Congress leader Priyanka Maurya joined the BJP today. They were inducted into the party in a function held in Lucknow. Congress MLA from the Rai Bareli Sadar Assembly constituency, Aditi Singh, also resigned from the party's membership. She had joined BJP around 2 months back. Azad Samaj Party Kanshiram Chief Chandrasekhar Azad will contest from the Gorakhpur Sadar seat against Chief Minister and BJP candidate Yogi Adityanath. The party has earlier announced to field candidates from all 403 assembly constituencies after the talks on alliance failed with the Samajwadi Party.
Goa Chief Minister Pramod Sawant will contest from Sankilim seat, while Deputy CM Manohar Ajgaonkar from Madgaon Assembly constituency in the upcoming state assembly elections. The BJP today announced a list of 34 candidates for the Goa Assembly elections, announcing the names of the candidates. Party General Secretary Arun Singh said the list includes 11 OBC candidates. He added that BJP has fielded 3 ST candidates and 1 SC candidate from general seats in Goa. Replying to a question on giving ticket to former Goa CM Manohar Parikar's son Utpal Parikar, senior BJP leader Devendra Fadnavis said the party has given 2 options other than Panaji, but he rejected first one and second option is being discussed with him. He also said the BJP has given stability in Goa and is fulfilling the goal of development envisioned by Manohar Parikar. Punjab Chief Electoral Officer Dr. S. Karuna Raju has said that 1,088 vulnerable hamlets have been identified in the state ahead of assembly polls. He said, besides this, 2,376 persons have been identified as probable sources of trouble. Mr. Raju said out of these persons, preventive action had already been initiated against 1,129 persons, while the remaining would also be brought to book. He also informed that from a security point of view, 725 persons have been bound down under preventive sections of CRPC Act. He said that 2,221 cases of non-bailable warrants have been executed, while execution in 191 cases is under process.
The process of filing nominations for the second phase of assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh, along with the single-phase polling in Goa and Uttarakhand, will begin with the issuance of notification tomorrow. Uttar Pradesh is going to polls in 7 phases from the 10th of February to 7th of March. The second phase of polling in Uttar Pradesh will take place on 14th February for 55 assembly constituencies, including 9 reserved constituencies spread over 9 districts. The districts are Saharanpur, Bijnor, Amroha, JP Nagar, Moradabad, Bareilly, Rampur, Sambhal, Bhimnagar, Badaयूं and Shahjahanpur district. The single-phase polling in Goa for 40 seats and in Uttarakhand for 70 seats will also be held during this phase on 14 February. The nominations for this phase can be filed till 20th of January and scrutiny will be undertaken on the 29th of January. Last date for the withdrawal of candidature will be 31st of January. Meanwhile, the process of filing nominations for the first phase of assembly elections are closing tomorrow. Till last evening, 184 nominations were filed in Uttar Pradesh. The scrutiny of nomination papers will be undertaken on Monday. Last date for withdrawal of candidature will be the 27th of January. In this phase, 58 assembly constituencies, including 9 reserved for the scheduled caste, will go to polls on 10th of February. These constituencies are from 11 districts of Shamli, Meerut, Hapur, Muzaffarnagar, Bagpat, Ghaziabad, Bulandshahr, Aligarh, Agra, Gautam Budh Nagar and Mathura. You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses the national launch ceremony of Azadi ke Amrit Mahotsav se Swarnim Bharat ki Or through video conferencing. Progress of people lies in the progress of the nation, says Prime Minister. BJP announces 34 candidates for Goa Assembly elections. Congress releases second list of 41 candidates for UP. India-assisted social housing units project in Mauritius to be jointly inaugurated by Prime Minister Modi and his Mauritian counterpart this evening. Nationwide COVID-19 vaccination drive reaches 159 crore 67 lakh mark. Recovery rate stands at 93.69%. India's green cover area increases to nearly 1/4 of its geographical area. Airlines across the world adjust their schedules over fears of key safety interference due to 5G rollout near the American airports. In football, AFC Women's Asian Cup kicks off this evening. India takes on Iran in the opening match in Mumbai. And in Australian Open, Stefanos Tsitsipas enters the third round of the men's singles. Top-seeded Garbine Muguruza bows out of the women's singles. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
Welcome back to the Midday News. More than 159 crore 67 lakh COVID vaccine doses have been administered in the country under the nationwide vaccination drive so far. The Health Ministry said more than 73 lakh 38,000 doses were administered in the last 24 hours. A total of 3 lakh 17,532 new cases were reported and 2 lakh 23,990 people recovered in the same period. The recovery rate is currently at 93.69%. Meanwhile, a total of 9,287 Omicron cases have been detected so far, showing an increase of 3.63% since yesterday. The Kerala government has issued fresh guidelines for schools in the wake of the COVID-19 surge. Students in class 1 to 9 will switch over to online classes from tomorrow. The COVID review meeting to be held this evening will decide on stepping up of containment measures and restrictions in the state, where a third wave of the pandemic has been confirmed. With 34,199 more persons tested positive for COVID-19 yesterday, Kerala's active cases have gone up to 1,68,383. Test positivity rate surged to a record 37.17%. The state has so far reported 645 persons infected with Omicron variant.
In a bilingual live phone-in program, Corona Jagrukta series, Dr. Rupali Mallik of Safdarjung Hospital, New Delhi, will be with us tonight to answer the queries related to coronavirus. This program can be heard on FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:30 p.m. onwards. Listeners can ask questions to the expert on telephone numbers 011-2342-1230 and 011-2342-1764. You can also post your queries on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts by hashtag AskAIR. This program will also be available on our website newsonair.gov.in and YouTube channel News on AIR Official. The fifth edition of the Pariksha Pe Charcha will be held in February this year, and today is the last date for registration. The contest was launched by MyGov portal from the 20th of December 2021. The format of this program is proposed to be in online mode like in 2021. An online creative writing competition has been conducted at innovateindia.mygov.in on various topics to select participants. Questions asked by selected winners will be featured in Pariksha Pe Charcha program.
The latest India State of Forest Report 2021, ISFR 2021, shows an increase in India's green cover to nearly one-fourth of its geographical area. As compared to the assessment of 2019, there is an increase of 2,261 square kilometers in the total forest and tree cover of the country. Talking to AIR News, Director General of Forest Survey of India, Anup Singh, said besides the increase in forest cover, increase in dense forest cover is also witnessed in the assessment. He said it is a very encouraging sign for carbon sequestration. And now let's listen to our special program Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News, Birth of a Nation.
India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of the struggle every day.
In today's episode, we remember freedom fighter Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, who died on January 20, 1988. An advocate for Hindu-Muslim unity, he was a prominent follower of Mahatma Gandhi and was also known as Frontier Gandhi.
A foremost leader of the Pashtuns in northwest frontier province of British India, Ghaffar Khan entered the national movement in 1919 during agitation over the Rowlatt Acts. In 1920, he joined the Khilafat movement, and in 1921, he was elected president of a district Khilafat committee in northwest frontier province. In 1929, Khan founded the Khudai Khidmatgar, an anti-colonial non-violent resistance movement.
हम खुदाई खिदमतगार हैं, लेकिन आपको बताना चाहता हूँ कि खुदा को खिदमत की जरूरत नहीं है। खुदा की खिदमत खुदा की मखलूक की खिदमत। यहाँ बदकिस्मती ये है, दुनिया में और हिंदुस्तान में अगर आप देखें, मखलूक जो है मुसलमान मखलूक मुसलमान को समझता है, हिंदू मखलूक हिंदू को समझता है, ईसाई मखलूक ईसाई को समझता है, यहूदी मखलूक यहूदी को समझता है। हम उनको कहते कि नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है, ये सब जो है ये सब खुदा के मखलूक।
The Khudai Khidmatgar's popularity with the people prompted the colonial government to launch numerous crackdowns against Khan and his supporters. Khan strongly opposed the proposal for the partition of India.
In June 1947, Khan and other Khudai Khidmatgar leaders formally issued the Bannu Resolution to the British authorities, demanding that the ethnic Pashtuns be given a choice to have an independent state of Pashtunistan. However, the British government refused to comply with the demands of this resolution. In response, Khan and his elder brother, Abdul Jabbar Khan, boycotted the 1947 Northwest Frontier Province referendum.
In 1987, Khan was awarded the Bharat Ratna. He was the first non-Indian to receive this honor. We salute the great nationalist.
We also remember nationalist Tej Bahadur Sapru, who died on the 20th of January 1949. A lawyer by profession, Sapru was a key figure in India's struggle for independence and played a prominent role in drafting of the Indian Constitution. It was Tej Bahadur Sapru who helped to bring about the Gandhi-Irwin Pact in 1931. In September 1932, Gandhiji began his fast against the communal award, facilitating separate electorate for depressed classes. Tej Bahadur Sapru was also in part responsible for the Pune Pact, modifying the communal award, after which Gandhiji ended his fast.
Following the breakdown of the Gandhi Jinnah talks, Tej Bahadur was appointed chairperson of a committee in November 1944 to examine the communal issue in a judicial framework. Sapru selected 29 committee members, representative of all communal groups, and submitted proposals to the Viceroy, Lord Wavell, in an attempt to break the political deadlock.
The committee's report contained a detailed historical analysis of proposals and a rationale for its constitutional recommendations. On the critical question of partition, the Sapru committee made a plea to avert the creation of Pakistan.
Sapru was also a member of the Defence Committee in the 1945 trials of Indian National Army officers for treason. He played a key moderating role throughout the constitutional debates. Tej Bahadur Sapru died on January 20th, 1949. We salute the great nationalist.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव के पावन अवसर पर आकाशवाणी समाचार के कार्यक्रम परिक्रमा में गुरुवार को शाम 4:45 पर सुनिए देश की आजादी की लड़ाई में अपना अमूल्य योगदान देने वाले भारतीय स्वतंत्रता संग्राम के सिपाही की वीर गाथा।
Best wishes to all consumers for Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Hallmark ensures purity of gold. Always purchase hallmarked gold jewelry For any consumer-related complaints, please contact National Consumer Helpline toll-free number 14404, issued in public interest by Department of Consumer Affairs, Government of India. Jago Grahak Jago.
Airlines across the world are adjusting the schedules and aircraft deployments for flights to the U.S. over fears that a 5G rollout near American airports could interfere with key safety systems. Air India Limited yesterday warned that flights to the U.S. will be curtailed or revised. Dubai's Emirates Airline also suspended its flights to several U.S. cities. Japan Airlines Company and ANA Holdings Inc. said they will drop some routes and won't fly their 777 jets to and from the U.S. mainland. Korean Airlines Company said its 777 and 747 and 748 aircraft are affected by the 5G service and is rearranging its fleet. The concerns stem from potential interference with sensitive navigation equipment used during landings in poor weather, which a trade association representing major U.S. airlines said could lead to catastrophic disruptions. Meanwhile, AT&T and Verizon, assigned to roll out 5G system, agreed to delay switching on hundreds of 5G cell towers near the U.S. airports. The U.S. State Department has given the go-ahead to Lithuania, Latvia and Estonia to send U.S.-made missiles and other weapons to Ukraine. The sources familiar with the decision said as President Joe Biden predicted Russia would move on Ukraine. Under export control regulations, countries must obtain approval from the State Department before transferring any weapons they received from the United States to third parties. The third-party transfer agreements will allow Estonia to transfer Javelin anti-tank missiles to Ukraine, while Lithuania will be permitted to send Stinger missiles. The news emerged yesterday after Biden told a news conference that Russia would pay dearly if it invaded Ukraine.
In football, the 20th edition of the AFC Women's Asian Cup kicks off this evening with India facing tournament debutant Iran at the D.Y. Patil Stadium in Mumbai at 7:30 p.m. 12 teams featuring across 30 games in 18 days across 3 stadiums in Mumbai. This is the first time that the finals will have 12 teams instead of the usual 8. There are 3 groups of 4 with the top 2 and 2 best third-placed teams progressing to the quarterfinals. The 4 teams that make the semi-finals also automatically qualify for the FIFA World Cup in Australia and New Zealand in 2023. Meanwhile, 2 members of the Indian women's senior national team for the AFC Women's Asian Cup India 2022 have tested positive for COVID-19 and are currently in isolation at a designated medical care facility. The All India Football Federation President Praful Patel on Monday said matches of the Women's AFC Asian Cup will not be cancelled due to positive COVID-19 cases if 13 players are available in each of the 2 competing teams. In the Australian Open tennis tournament, Stefanos Tsitsipas defeated Sebastian Baez 7-6, 6-7, 6-3, 6-4 to advance to the third round of men's singles. In another match, Alex de Minaur beat Poland's Kamil Majstraka 6-4, 6-4, 6-2 to enter the third round. In women's singles, there was an upset as the third seed Garbine Muguruza made an exit, losing to Alice Cornet 6-3, 6-3. In the ICC Under-19 World Cup, India registered a big 174-run win over Ireland in their Group B match in Tarouba, Trinidad, to qualify for the Super League phase. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses the national launch ceremony of Azadi Ke Amrit Mahotsav se Swarnim Bharat ki or through video conferencing. Progress of people lies in progress of the nation, says Prime Minister. BJP announces 34 candidates for Goa Assembly elections. Congress releases second list of 41 candidates for UP. India-assisted social housing units project in Mauritius to be jointly inaugurated by Prime Minister Modi and his Mauritian counterpart this evening. Nationwide COVID-19 vaccination drive reaches 159 crore 67 lakh mark. Recovery rate stands at 93.69%. India's green cover area increases to nearly 1/4 of its geographical area. Airlines across the world adjust schedules over fears of key safety interference due to 5G rollout near American airports. In football, AFC Women's Asian Cup kicks off this evening. India takes on Iran in the opening match at Mumbai. And with that, we end the midday news.